Underwriting deals is such a major pain point for people. Most don't want to do it, and the people that are good at it are few and far between. That is why after 6 years of being in the industry and buying over 1,200 apartments, using my best-selling multifamily deal analyzer, I created Real Estate Lab, a full suite acquisition software for multifamily investors. We have built a product that helps investors automate their acquisitions and close more deals, all in a cloud-based platform. You can go to realestatelab.com and sign up today using the promo code TAG2 for 10% off your first 12 months. This is David Tupin. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Apartment Guys, where we dive deep into all things multifamily investing. Our mission is to educate, inspire, and empower real estate investors to reach their highest potential. Each week, host Tate interviews high-level guests from all over the industry who are sure to bring valuable, actionable ideas that will propel your career to the next level. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned investor, you are in the right place. And now your host, the Apartment Guy, Tate Seymour.
Welcome everybody back. Another episode of the Apartment Gurus coming at you, formerly the Apartment Guys. We're currently in transition right now, getting the new logo and thumbnails and everything put together for our new rebrand on the Apartment Guys, now called the Apartment Gurus. And so we're really glad that you've joined us again. Hopefully you've gotten a lot of great things out of some of our other episodes, former episodes. If you haven't listened, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to especially some of the recent episodes that have talked about the changing markets, kind of predictions for stuff that's upcoming in the market, our strategies right now, as far as acquisitions, whether or not we're actually acquiring deals. Hint, we are still in acquisition mode and acquiring deals. We're under contract right now on about $40 million worth of property. And, we're still very excited about this industry and the opportunities there. So what we thought we would share with you today is a little bit from our company's Vivid Vision. And if you haven't read the book Vivid Vision by Cameron Herold, Herold, I highly recommend that you read that book. It's short, it's concise, to the point, and it's a great guide to developing your 3-year Vivid Vision as a company. And especially if you are the CEO of your company or managing partner or whatever that title is, it's really your responsibility to develop the culture, values, and vision for your company. And so writing a Vivid Vision, which is typically about a 5 or 6 page document, describing what is going to happen over the next 3 years and where you're going to get to, is, I think it's just massively important. And we developed our Vivid Vision in January as a company, Greenlight. Chelsea, Carl, and I did. And I wrote it as CEO of Greenlight. And what we thought we would share with you today is a section of the Vivid Vision, which is about our core values. And the reason that this idea came up is we just had a really interesting situation where we were sourcing some equity for a deal that we're doing, and we had a potential partner or equity source at the table. And we realized that, quite frankly, the values that this person was demonstrating through his interaction with us just didn't align with our values. And we really used our Vivid Vision and our core values as kind of a guiding force, or a guiding principles to making a decision as to whether or not to work with that particular person, that particular equity source. And ultimately, thanks to Chelsea, we ended up not pursuing that option. And it was really, like I said, our guiding core values that determined this decision that we made as a team together. And Chelsea, like I said, was kind of the spearhead of holding us to our core values, which I'm super grateful for. So before we jump into our core values, and we're going to go through each one, Chelsea, do you have anything to add to the intro there?
No, I'd say with the vivid vision is if somebody hasn't done one before, you can do it in your personal life as well. Yep. You start out 3 years and then you work your way backwards.
Yep.
And we won't go into obviously great detail of the vivid vision, but it speaks at a very, high level, 30,000 foot view. What does your company look like? And it's everything from obviously who you are to your values. What is your culture like? What does your office look like? We're not really, we do have some metrics in there, but what are the importance of our investors, our investor relations, all the things that we're already doing, but on a much larger scale. So this is a document that you first roll out, internally with your team, and then secondary to other partners. And they could be property managers, they could be contractors, they could be lenders. It's really the idea is to get everybody on the same page and excited about not only where you are now, but where you're going, because people want to be a part of your growth and vice versa. And it just gives a very clear picture of who you are and what you stand for. And, I think going into the core values today will be a good refresh, not only for ourselves, but, maybe a jumping point for some of our listeners here to get inspired to go out and do the same.
Yeah. I also want to acknowledge Jake and Gino, who, if you don't know of Jake and Gino, they are very well-known national syndicators and educators, and they run an amazing coaching community, and they have an annual event every November that's extremely well attended, usually about 1,000 people. And in my opinion, they do a lot of things right, and they really lead with their core values. And they have at their national event, they have banners up that illustrate the core values and state their core values. It's really like central and critical to their operations and their business relations and everything else. So again, you want to really delve into these and develop them, and dig deep and figure out what's really important to you, to your business, to your partners, to your team, and get real and create a vision and create a set of core values that you're excited about, that are in alignment with who you are personally and in alignment with how you want to show up on a business level. So with that, I think we should just jump right in. Chelsea, you want to share our first core value with our listeners?
Absolutely. So we have 7 core values. The first is inherent goodness. We believe in the inherent goodness and worth of all people and choose to see and celebrate that. And, everything that we say here is not only in our professional lives, but in our personal lives. How you do one thing is usually how you do everything. So we always look for the good in people, whether it be our, property managers, employees, other parties we're working with, each other. We're not always going to have the best days, but we know at the end of the day that we're good people and we're doing good things, and we want to celebrate that. And, we give each other high fives and let each other know when we've had wins, and, continue to boost each other up. And that's not just with our team, but with everybody that we work with.
Right. And, inherent goodness isn't necessarily, the fact that we believe in the inherent goodness and worth of all people, that's not necessarily based in factual evidence. as much as it is based in how we choose to see people and how we choose to relate to people. I would say it's more of a choice than a statement of fact, right? So ultimately, how you see people is more about you than it is about them. And it's more a reflection on you. And so when we see inherent goodness and say our residents, for instance, we're ultimately seeing and projecting the inherent goodness of ourselves and choosing to see that in other people and to celebrate that in other people. So when we start with that, with inherent goodness, we're starting off from a place of respect and dignity and leaving people, well, even if it's a tough conversation that we have to have with somebody that maybe has points of discord or points of even a little bit of like disagreement, we want to make sure that everyone involved is left feeling respected, honored, cherished, and like professional, right? Like for me personally, I consider this a very high level of professionalism. And so this core value is particularly exciting to me. It ensures that I enjoy our interactions with really everybody from our team to our power team to our, like all those people that Chelsea just mentioned. We love working with people that we love to work with, right? And so we're committed to working with people that we enjoy, that are highly professional and highly effective, and make us better at what we're doing. So yeah, that's inherent goodness. Our second core value, and there's 7, is high standards. And, we each strive individually to be the highest and best versions of ourselves. And we hold ourselves and each other accountable to high levels of excellence. And really this, again, kind of addresses, like Chelsea said, how you do one thing is how you do everything in life. And this is a little bit crude, but I heard Grant Cardone one time say, if you pee on the toilet seat and you don't clean it up, you're never going to be a millionaire. And, for me, there's a lot of truth in that. Like if you're cutting corners and you're not being in integrity with how you operate in the world, on any level, that's going to bleed across into your business life and your professional life. So, high standards, Michael Jordan said when he was asked what made him better than everybody else, he didn't say competitiveness. He didn't say, he didn't say practice. He said that he just has higher standards than everybody else in the NBA and in basketball. And that is a guiding principle that's going to determine how you practice. In his case, it's going to determine, in our case, how we relate to people, the quality of our communications, the quality of our systems and processes, and really how effective we are doing what we're doing. And high standards are something that other people that you're working with will notice, and you will get so much farther in business having a very, very high standards of excellence. And ultimately it's a recipe for winning. So, which is what we're all about, right? We're all in this to win it. And so holding, and then the core value mentions holding ourselves accountable. And for me, what that means is being committed to bringing my A game every single day to our business and to what we're doing. And talks about holding each other accountable. So we have systems and processes in our company. We have peer reviews. We have very frequent meetings. And, the truth is that Chelsea and Carl and I and our sponsor, Tim, we love working together and we love each other. We have a lot of fun. And at the same time, we're we have enough emotional intelligence, each one of us, that we can share feedback with each other that sometimes is positive and sometimes is maybe a little like, hey, I see where you can improve here, and I see where you can make some changes here. And sometimes, if you're not an emotionally intelligent person, you're going to take some of that personally, right? Like, and being professional and having high standards means that you're also open to coaching, you're open to feedback, criticism, and you want that, right? Like, you actually want the positive and especially the negative, because that shows you where you have room for improvement. So I rely on Chelsea and Carl particularly to hold me accountable and to say, like, in the event that they see I could be doing something better or differently, to speak up and say that. So, to me, that makes us tighter as a team. It supports and develops our rapport with each other and our culture. And I think it's just a massively crucial core value to what we do. We want to be good, right? Like, we want to be amongst the best syndicators out there, and we want our partners to love working with us. We want our investors to love working with us, and want them to come back and invest with us multiple times over and over in different opportunities that we have. And so having really high standards of excellence is where it's at for us. So, Chelsea, you want to take number 3?
Yeah. So number 3 kind of rolls off from number 2, which is radical responsibility. And we are each 100% responsible for our own realities and the success of the company. And so what that means is exactly what it says, when you are 100% responsible, you own your actions, whether they be right or wrong. And we've found as a team that, the best thing to do is, if you haven't lived up to the standards, or you've done something wrong, is you admit it and you move on, and the team is there to support you. But the worst thing you can do is, and our team is particularly good about this because we're very open. We feel very comfortable with one another, as we can admit when we're wrong. And I think there's a lot of growth, like Tate has mentioned earlier, from high standards that comes from that. So it pulls together a greater bond within your team, and ultimately what you can do. And that's, of course, contributes to the success of the company and your personal life. And, that's like everything. We're 100% responsible for everything we do. And even the things that we don't do, like take responsibility and be the responsible one, which sometimes can be hard. That's like having to, sometimes we have to own other people's problems and take their responsibilities because maybe they didn't handle it. And that can happen. And that's part of just moving forward. At the end of the day, we don't want to dwell on what's happened too much in the past, but take from it, move on, and just do and be better.
Yeah. And, being radically responsible for yourself and for really your experience in life and everything about it is a point of power in life. Like, if you're responsible for, hey, this team member that I'm in charge of or I oversee isn't performing the way that we need them to, the very first thing you look at is, how am I responsible for that? Not what's their fault. Not, what they could do better, or, that we just need another person or whatever. It's, how am I showing up in such a way that's creating this person's performance, basically? And that's just one example. But the more responsibility you take, the more power you have to influence and change anything that you identify that you're responsible for. So consider that it's really the most powerful place that you can come from, is like, I'm in charge here. I'm in charge of me and my life and my way of being in the world, my way of being in the business. And it's going to just multiply your power in a massive way and it's going to make you so effective at doing the things that you need to do inside of your business. So on that, number 4 out of 7 is growth mindset. And this is a commitment where we're basically always expanding and adding to our abundance. And by abundance, I mean personal development, personal power, of course, material and financial abundance, relationships. We're always learning. We're perpetual students. And in fact, even though the show's called Apartment Gurus, really the gurus in the show are our listeners and our guests. You'll notice that underlying all of these values is an element of humility, which to me is a superpower in life. And being a growth mindset means being willing to admit that you don't know everything. And, that there's room to improve. There's room to grow. There's always room to learn and grow. And if you come in at life from a sense of curiosity and a sense of just wanting to be a better version of yourself, having a growth mindset is absolutely key. So, Chelsea, anything to add to that one?
Yeah, I would just add to, the abundance we talk about this often on the show, that the syndication multifamily space it's a space of abundance. Like we share resources, you name it. There's nothing that's really off limits because we're not in a scarcity mode here. We know there's going to be more deals. Like, people will say right now is a tough time to find deals, but at the end of the day, we don't believe that, and we'll still share information or, again, resources, things that are going to help other people. So it's not just abundance about ourselves, but abundance about the people that we work with, or even the people that we don't know. And that's a lot of what we're doing here on the podcast. This is so much more about everybody else than it is us, and we're just sharing some, an insight into what we're doing, so somebody can hopefully learn and grow and maybe not make some of the mistakes that we've made. But at the end of the day, it's all about there is enough to go around. There's an abundance of everything.
Yeah. It's one of the things I love about our industry is, in general, the thought leaders and the mastermind participants and our listeners and our guests, everybody's out to contribute as much value externally to listeners and students and other colleagues and everything else, that it's really, really refreshing. And that's because generally people in this space, especially the successful people, do have an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset, which is a little different than a growth mindset. But a growth mindset and an abundance mindset go very well together and are very important to each other. You'll notice that in considering what even a growth mindset is or an abundance mindset is, that there is an aspect of positivity, right? And optimism. And to me, and I'm just kind of wired as an optimist myself. It's how I am. But to me, it's a superpower because, if you believe in the law of attraction or a version of it, or, something like the law of attraction, just that what you put out is what you get back, that abundance mindset is going to be key to bringing abundance to you. But it starts with adding value and bringing abundance to other people. And the quickest way to get rich is to make a whole bunch of other people rich first. And, that's kind of what we're about with our investors and with our colleagues, is coming from a place of abundance and coming from a place of growth. Like, we don't know everything and we're always learning, and we could be wrong about stuff, we have been. So number 5 out of 7, one of my favorites here, work hard and play hard. And we almost could call it work harder and play harder. But we play full out in all areas of our life, including our work and our recreation. And to me, again, these things go hand in hand. Like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you are out skiing, if you're, in my case, skiing, mountain biking are my two jams, two of my big passions in life. To me, how I ski, how I mountain bike, how seriously I take those endeavors and how hard I go after them is a direct determiner of how hard I work. And I need that play. I need that recreation. Like I play hard. There aren't too many weekends that I'm just sitting around the house. I'm usually camping, going to soccer games, professional soccer. I'm a huge professional soccer fan. Like there's all kinds of ways that I recreate. And I love that. And I love that aspect of my life, but I also love our business and I love doing business. And I love, all the things that go along with it, the emails, the texts, all the underwriting, the nitty gritty stuff is stuff that I love because it's an overall contribution to our success and to the quality of our lives and the quality of our business. Work hard, play hard. Chelsea, you play really hard. You've got some great things going in your life. Equestrian, horseback riding, equestrian stuff, mountain biking, skiing. So, what else would you have to say about this?
Yeah. I mean, I think it kind of goes back to, we love to work hard and we're in the real estate industry to, not only of course be successful and make money, but how can we help other people make their dreams come true? And a lot of people, you think about when you ask people what makes them, the most excited or what creates the least amount of stress in their life. Of course, money is what gets us there, but it's the creation of time freedom and being able to do the things that you want to do that usually aren't associated with your 9-to-5 job. So if we can create more opportunities for, let's say, an investor to come in and invest passively and make cash flow so that with the additional cash flow, they can go do the things that they love to do, then it just goes so full cycle of why we're doing what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to balance, and we're pretty good about balance and the importance of, you can be amazing multifamily investor, syndicator, but if you're not paying attention to your significant other, your family, and your health is lagging, then, at the end of the day, what's it all worth? So I think it's a good thing to reflect on for our listeners. And a lot of it comes back to our why. So for us, I know at Greenlight, it's helping others succeed financially so they can do the things they love. And for us, we love to do those things too. We love to do them as a team, and it's so important, and it brings so much joy into our professional and personal lives.
Yeah. And that, you can tell we're kind of talking about things from a holistic perspective. Like, I don't want to be repetitive, but how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that, the quality of your life overall determines the quality of each part of your life, whether, like Chelsea mentioned, health, relationships, recreation, financial health. All those things are tied so intimately together, and they all influence each other. So a lot of times you can look at your life and say, this part of my life isn't exactly where I want it to be. And you can look at like all the reasons for that, or you can just say, look, I'm going to bring it up a notch, and I'm going to level up in this part of my life. And what you'll notice is that helps you level up in other parts of your life too. So the better you feel about yourself, the better you feel about each part of your life, the more confidence you have, which is extremely attractive to people when you're confident yet humble and authentic, which is, what I strive to be, quite frankly. It's delicious to be around people like that, and people want to do business with people like that. So the work hard, play hard is absolutely a central core value for us. We talk about it a lot. We play together a lot as a team. We have goals this year, and if we fulfill those goals, we're going to go to the British Virgin Islands together. we've already talked about that and set that vision in place. So number 6 out of 7 is teamwork makes the dream work. And, we're very committed to working with high level, high quality professional people that we love working with. Whether that's our own team, whether it's partners, capital raisers, sponsors, brokers, property managers. Like, we've worked with enough people that we don't enjoy working with and that aren't up to our level of high standards. And it's a bummer. Like, it's something that you're so much better off cutting off at the pass and nipping in the bud early when you're working with somebody that doesn't align with you and that you don't enjoy and aren't like vibing with. It's crucial to cut that off, in my opinion. And on the flip side, it's crucial to develop those connections and those relationships with the people that you do love working with and that make you better as a professional and as a team member. So, it starts with us. It starts with how we relate to each other and how tight we are as a team. And that really determines like our external relationships with our investors and residents and everybody else that we influence and work with. Chelsea, you want to go ahead? Yeah.
I would say, more specifically when it comes to syndication this is a team sport, right? And Team Greenlight wasn't born overnight. Tate and Carl were business partners for 15 plus years in various ventures. And Tate and I organically, had first a friendship before even a professional relationship. And Carl came in and we all really aligned, and it didn't happen overnight. It happened over a course of some time. And I would just, for the newbie kind of investors getting in here, go out and look for partners, look for people who are a couple steps ahead of you in the business. But, just keep in mind that you of course want to know and like these people, but you're going to be working together very closely for the course of the deal and not just getting to, okay, maybe you're a capital raiser, for example. You might not just raise capital for a deal, but you want to be committed to every part of that team and the relationship and showing up. And I guess the point really is here, you're stuck with these people for 3-5 plus years. So you want to go in not just with the mindset of, yes, we can get a deal done, but yes, we can be good partners for the next 3 to 5 years. Look at the bigger picture and, just make sure that you're aligned. And that's why have these core values, come to a meeting prepared in your initial discussion and express your values. And, it's an interview, getting to know someone. And it's just so, this is just so points to our conversation where we have in capital letters in our core values, love, people that we love working with. And the person yesterday was so far from that we would have been selling a piece of our soul essentially to have gone through with that totally. Deal. And you can't put a price tag on that. And sometimes when you're cornered into a pigeonhole, which we were in, and had to make a really tough decision and potentially have a deal fall apart, we chose to let that person go. And of course we have had another opportunity lined up, which helped, but we would have been very unhappy for the next 5 years working with this individual. And I think that was a really good reminder to come back to our values. And, we'll continue to go back to them as we come in these situations. As, I would just completely emphasize for everybody to put together their core values and pin them up somewhere on the wall and live by them. Don't just write them down and put them in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah. Make a banner. Like Jake and Gino have banners that have all their core values listed on them. And we'll talk about the last core value here in a second, but really like your assignment, listener, is to just sit down and kind of quickly just write out what's important to you. Don't think too much about it. Just kind of stream of consciousness, what matters to me the most. in life and in business, and what's important to you about other people, what's important to you about yourself, what's important to you about the way you do business, and write all that stuff down and start to develop a set of core values. You don't have to get it right on the first draft. You're just getting ideas out. And then maybe you can work with your team and develop those concepts together and those values together too. And ultimately, again, teamwork makes the dream work. So doing things as a team and getting buy-in from your team is so key and crucial. And making everybody a part of this process is extremely valuable, in my opinion. So last and certainly not least of our core values is to go big or go bigger. And what we say about that is we recognize that scale and volume are our friends, and we are continually developing a portfolio with assets that are expanding in unit count. And we should also say value. So there's a number of ways to measure your portfolio in multifamily. One is how many units you own, or how many units you own as a company. And the other is assets under management, AUM. You'll see that term around a lot. And we're ultimately, AUM, in my opinion, is the paramount, most important metric. But in multifamily, scale is so key, because the more units you have, the more tenants you have, the more people paying rent that you have, the more insulated you are from somebody, moving out. Like, say you own a duplex and one of your residents moves out, you just lost half your income on that property. But say you own 100 units and one person moves out, you just lost 1% of your income on that property. It's much easier to absorb. In addition to that, when you're forcing appreciation and bringing properties up in value by improving them and increasing rents, the more units you're doing that to at a time makes the value of that property exponentially more. If you're improving 150 units and raising the rents on 150 units, you just increase the value of that property by usually millions of dollars, versus, again, like a fourplex. You raise rents across a fourplex, that's great. You just increase your cash flow, but you don't get the exponential wealth creation and wealth building that you do in multifamily. So, another way to look at this is, like, people say it takes looking at 100 deals before you get one. And so the more deals you're looking at, the more volume you have in your deal flow, the better off you are. I would say this also applies to capital raising. The more people you have in your network, the more conversations you're having with good, high quality people that can invest with you. Again, the better off you're going to be, and the more likely it is that you're going to be able to close deals. So go big or go bigger. Chelsea, what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think when we look at Greenlight, I can just to speak more specifically about our growth and going bigger, and Tate being, the leader of the team and really coming again to this abundance and growth mindset. We've pushed ourselves far beyond anything that we've done before, because we came in with a mindset knowing we can make anything happen. And we've pushed ourselves and we've challenged ourselves. And I think people have probably at times thought we were crazy, but we're not sitting, we're not playing it. We're playing it safe and conservative, but we're not afraid to go after the bigger deals and put the pieces of the puzzle together. And some people will say very differently, come with all of your capital raised to the deal. But, I think being resourceful, our team has been incredibly resourceful when it comes to putting deals together. And that's a huge part of going bigger. So thinking outside of just the people that you're surrounded by, and who can you network with? Where are other capital sources? We're now working with different equity sources. And over the last year and a half, everybody's told us, $1 million is too small. 3 million is too small. We don't want to look at a deal unless we're investing 5 or 10 million. And
that's right.
Now we have deals on the table where we're looking for $5 and $10 million equity partners, and it's so much easier.
Yeah.
And it's so and you don't believe it until it actually happens. It was really questionable, but there's a lot of truth in those things. And I'm not saying go from, looking at 10 units to 200, but it takes just as much work as it does to do 10 units as it does to do 200. So if you can be resourceful and put the pieces of the puzzle together, which you're going to have to do anyways, why not go bigger? I challenge everybody to push themselves out of a comfort zone and what they think they can do, because that's where the real growth occurs.
That's so well said, Chelsea. To that point, your mindset, what you believe is possible for you determines everything. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. If you believe you can do it, you can do it. Mm-hmm. If you don't believe you can do it, you can't do it. And that's really as simple as that. And so I think that's an excellent point. Oh, you just made another great point. It's slipping my mind, but that's really, really well said. And yeah, that's really our set of core values. I would not only encourage you, but really implore you to get real with yourself about what's important to you. And, the greater level of self-knowledge you have, the more power you have in life. And exploring these things consciously, writing them down, and typing them out and publishing them and do whatever with them is going to set your core values in place. Reviewing them as a team is going to keep them alive and keep them active. And, we just had this situation yesterday and this morning that one of our core values determined our course and determined our decision. And that's hugely important. It's just hugely important because we're still in alignment with ourselves and our values. And had we not chosen the path that we chose, like Chelsea said, we would have been really out of alignment with our values and our power. So thanks, Chelsea, for holding us accountable to our core values.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. So listeners, hope you got a lot out of this. I hope you got some inspiration. That's, and some guidance. That's what we're here for. Just to remind everybody, we are here for you. On our website, investwithgreenlight.com, there's a place to link up to our Calendly where you can book basically free consultations with myself. And we'll just, 10, 15 minutes, we'll talk about your business, where you want to go, what your challenges are, what your strengths are. And there's no strings attached. There's no agenda, not trying to convert you to a client or an investor. It's just, we love to help. And it's so fun for us to talk about this business and about this industry. And we love bringing people along for the ride. So that's one of. If
anybody wants a copy of the Vivid Vision, read our vision. It's really nicely put together and professionally with great graphics, and it could be a template for potentially what you put together. So
that's right.
If you get a copy of our Vivid Vision, I would just request that you also order the book. We have no affiliation with the book, but it's really the framework for how we put ours together.
Yeah. So reach out to us and contact us, and we'll send you our Vivid Vision. Like Chelsea said, it's really cool looking. We had it professionally designed, and yours truly wrote it ultimately. So I think I'm a somewhat decent writer. And I think that more importantly, the vision here that really we as a team created together is super exciting and hopefully very inspirational. We'll be talking more about our Vivid Vision in future episodes and other aspects of it as well. So you can look forward to that. So with that, listeners, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Apartment Gurus. Chelsea and I are super grateful to have you as listeners. We love hearing from you. We love when you leave us reviews and ratings because that feedback makes us better. And so with that, we'll say thank you, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to The Apartment Guys with Tate Seamer. Tate and Friends are grateful to have you as a loyal listener. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe, rate, review, and share with friends on your Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or any other podcast platform. Also, check out Tate's YouTube channel for videos of many of these episodes and more. Until next time, take massive action steps and rock on.